$25 from Lowe's and whatnot. I like those because they give me 10% off as a gutter. PVC rain gutter, you're looking at 4.5 by 10 foot, half-inch round, 174 for 25. That'll give us 250 feet to put on the walls and under the stuff that we're going to be growing. The rain goes, those are your downspouts, 15. Overall, you're looking at about, what would that be? About $1,100 there. And then the growing medium, because we don't grow in dirt, our waters are medium. We actually would use a 1/4-inch rock and a 1/2-inch rock so the roots have something to grab onto while they're growing in the water. You're looking at about $25 or $50 for that. For a good waterfall pump, you're looking at about $200 when it'll pump enough water up to the top of the room and let it cascade down to where we need it, about $200. Total for one room setup with 18 containers, you're looking at about $1,600. And then whatever you start growing is your time. I mean, I could go through the whole road for peas and beans and carrots and whatnot, but it takes, cabbage is what, 68 to 80 days, depending on your temperatures and whatnot. So the hydroponics is something that I've looked into. It's something I've been doing for a number of years. I lost my greenhouse when we went to Miami with the seniors because my pump got plugged up and my son didn't know how to fix it, so he just shut it off. So he saved my pump, but I lost my greenhouse. Everything that was growing, and losing greenhouse. So that's what I have as a price update for you. That's what you asked me to get. I believe it'll cost $1,600.
What's the square footage of that?
To do, it'd be one of your rooms down there, which would be 18 grow tubes, one classroom, 18 tubs. And to buy the tubs, you can either buy them for about $35 a piece, or you can get them donated. There's companies up in Denver that, some of the airlines have hundreds of them sitting outside, and you'd be tickled pink if you came by and picked them up. So, I mean, you can get them for free, or you can pay for them. They're already cleaned out. You don't have to worry about whatever's been in them. So,
Okay.
I mean, I've been using some of it.
As a person who used to grow interesting plants, do you have anything for a backup in case the power goes out?
That's why I like a 12 volt, because on a 12 volt system, you can have a battery backup with a solar unit. And we've already been talking about the solar, so put an extra panel up on top of the school. You're talking a couple of $100, 3 or 4 battery pack in there, and you'd be able to run that water pump for 3 days. It would be a 12 volt. What's that? Well, they're all 12 volt. You're only drawing, let's see, what we had 20 of them, and they were 80 watt. They were 80 watts that you put in, and there are 100 LEDs and an 80 watt light. So I mean, you're only looking at putting, I think, 3 in there. You need 3 per room, so you need 240 watts. That's less than some people have 3 light bulbs running in their house.
Yeah, but off of a battery.
Off of a battery, dude. 80 watts is 80 watts. If I can hit you as hard as Mike Tyson,
But
it's
off
still
of a battery at 12 volts, 240 watts is 20 amps. I'm a double E man, you can't argue with me about
No, I know one's
equal
both sides.
sides, right? But, so 240 watts is what you said you need, so that's, at 12 volt system, that's 20 amp constant draw.
Sure.
How long do you think the battery's gonna last at a 20 amp constant draw?
6 or 8 hours, how long does it take for it to get down there? Plus then you got the solar the next morning coming up.
Wow. That's a lot of juice for a 12 volt battery. So
And the lights aren't that important, it's the pump.
that's your water. Right.
So
Pump stops.
Right.
Yeah, I understand.
You can go 3 days without light on a plant before it starts to be generated.
So I think
Once you're
that-
down inch plants, then you probably, yeah, about 290. Oh, no, that's not 20, that's only 45 watts. I have some of those. 45 watts. So,
Is this going to be a school garden?
it would be school, it would be down in the old elementary school,
So
and we
you thought
would,
about building it around curriculum or anything like that?
we have talked about building it around a science class, and we've talked about building it around your stuff that you're doing inside the kitchen area there. We haven't figured out, I don't think we've figured out if we're actually going to do a full curriculum and part profit, or part profit, full curriculum, because we want to get other schools involved in this too, so we want to get the inflow of money, but we first want to get the system set up supplying our school, our kitchen with good quality stuff, and getting the kids to come down for a science class or getting them to come down for an ag class. You know, we're sending kids to other schools right now to learn how to weld and do framing, construction. I would like other kids from other schools to start coming to Hanover to learn agriculture. We are an agricultural community, I mean, as far as the eye can see. So, except that night, because they need to see the lights of the cities, but.
There's some 3 or 4 schools out there that have already started doing this.
Right.
And Boulder Valley School District, they already have curriculum built around that.
Okay.
And they have some information as a guide, programs and just how they recommend you going about it. So that's Denver Public Schools, Boulder Valley School District.
I knew Denver, and Colorado Springs actually has some schools growing on the rooftops, so.
So, but they actually put a publication together, you know, so
And
that.
I've seen those, I got that,
So that you
yeah.
stuff like that. Getting out there.
So that would be our next step, is to look at the funding, look at the grants, look at setting up a room to show the public, if that's the route we want to go. You know, the pump, you're only looking at about $200. You could probably just put one light in, you know, I could break it down into the individual costs, put one tank in there, put one light in there, and you're only looking at 80 watts and probably 30 or 40 maybe on a pump, Mr. Mathman.
I'm sorry, I was reading.
Probably about 80 to 120 on a small 12-volt pump.
Okay.
Because like I said, I had a medium-sized waterfall one in my garden, in my greenhouse, and I was supplying.
Yeah, it was like 20-25 watts.
Yeah, it's not very much. So I mean, we could set one up and show them what it will look like, and then go large scale if that's something that the community is involved in, if that's something that the kitchen wants to get involved with, which I know Cindy and I have talked, for a couple of years now, on trying to get this going. So it's something that I'd be willing to move forward on, and I know it's an income generator, maybe not this year, but maybe at the end of next year. So, and we were looking for more money, and talking to the manager, so it's definitely something to look at, and it's a cheap investment. $1,500 for one, $1,600 for one room is a cheap investment to start growing. And I would start, correct me if I'm not wrong, Cindy, but I would start with your fruits and vegetables, which are your highest cost items, correct? So I would start with definitely the fruits and some of the vegetables. Find out if you can get a price breakdown from the kitchen on what we,
Well, we're able to buy seed.
Right,
From
but-
our fund, from our lunch fund, we
Okay.
purchase seed.
so what we need to figure out from you is what your highest items are you're purchasing.
Our
You
berries.
can't-
The berries.
And we can start growing the berries, because, I mean, even if, go to Safeway, they're $3, $4, $5.99 a
We already
pound.
have a bear problem, it's just gonna be worse with growing
Yeah,
bear.
no, we've had that berry. So,
When you two went to the training, did they happen to give you a copy of or a link to the state for sanitation and also the health approval process?
it's all in there.
Just because I don't know how to go about that, if we have a link to go.
You just have, from what I'm gathering, there are no federal or state regulations per se, but you have to abide by the health department regulations when it's coming from the garden to the cafeteria. But that's what I have learned for myself. Now, in the other aspects of it, I have no knowledge.
And that's where your regulations are, is in the health department. And that's why it makes it feasible for Mr. Smith to be growing something at his house, trying to come in, because he has to follow every single one of those just to grow his green beans. He would have to follow every single one just to grow his corn. And so it's better to bring it in as a community and share that cost and bring that money in and get her fresh stuff in her kitchen, which saves her money. And growing the berries, you can save that $1,600 in one season.
So I would see that our next step is to expand with that.
Okay.
Then we would need to get health inspection behind to make sure that everything is fair. So that first group that comes up, I don't know what you call it, crop or not, when the first crop is ready, we actually have passed the health. And we can maybe start using.
So I've called out, I've reached out to Caitlin, she's our lady that actually does our sections here, and she's gonna get back with me and get some more information, and so I'm waiting on her to get back.
So, Ms. Wilson, can I ask a question?
Mhm.
So you were mentioning that this would have to run off of batteries. Obviously, right now, we don't have the
No,
solar.
you can actually plug it into the wall, these 12 volt, these 120 to 12 volts, you actually just plug them into the wall so they work off the 120, it just lowers the voltage to 12 volts. So you're using 75 watts to create 12 volt DC, 60 watts.
So it's not going to increase our electric costs in that building? So that
It will marginally, but
to offset the other, so does it really necessarily?
I can break it down per light bulb and exactly what it would cost, but I mean, it's kilowatt hours are easy to figure out. An 80-watt light bulb, you get 1,000, you need what? Math man? 80 watts to go through. 1,000 goes into 80. 1,000 goes into 80, what, about 15 times? So you would have to leave one 80-watt light bulb on for 15 hours, and I believe our electric now through Mountain View is 18.3 cents per kilowatt hour. So one 80-watt light bulb for 15 hours, and that's roughly 1,000, give or take.
Electric company doesn't even notice the pump.
Yeah, it's 18 cents per 15 hours of 80-watt use. And that's why LEDs save us so much money, because they're lower wattage, but give off more light. So that's why everyone's going to the LEDs. So you use the LEDs and you're going to save a boatload of money. You're going to spend a little more to buy them, but you're going to save a boatload in your electricity. And that's what we're after. If we want to get to the off-grid, so to say, living, that's what we need is the low wattage, low amperage, low voltage.
It's 12 and a half, you were close.
That was close.
And so that would be, what did you say it was?
12 and a half hours, 18.3 cents, I think is what they're charging. I haven't looked at my
So call it 36 cents a day per LED.
per 100 watt, per 100 LED light bulbs. So, our diodes, or diode, I guess. So yeah, it marginally, yes, the offset of growing the fruits and vegetables for the kitchen, so much bigger. Anything else?
It's $10 a month
Per light.
per light.
So
So
three
I
lights,
can do
$30
that.
a month for 3 lights.
I'm good with that.
Add the pump into there at 25 watts, you're looking at what, 25 and 100, and you're looking at 40 hours. So every 2 days it'll cost you 18 cents on it. If you get a low voltage and wattage pump.
All right, so any other discussion on hydroponics? All right, I think we're at the point where, at least me personally, as a board member, I'm ready to see, a plan. We've talked about curriculum integration, we've talked about a whole bunch of different things. I think we need to see the plan in writing, see how much it's gonna cost us to get in. And, and again, the plan is we're starting small and growing, going in large, all those things need to be hashed out. And I think documented.
The next financial investment will come from Cindy and what the health department says we actually need to set up in there. I know some of the costs, but I don't know all of the costs and what the health department's gonna come out and see here to tell us what we need to buy.
But again, those unknowns could be documented and say, hey, if this number I'm giving you is a wild card because of A, B, C, D.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I'd like to see how the month goes short of being able to drop a document plan. Again, integrated with curriculum, if that's what we're gonna do.
Give them Boulder Valley and just tell them to cut.
Yeah, they've got it, we need to see what they got.
Okay, so superintendent, I've got it.
Yep. Yeah, because if we're gonna do this, and we're gonna integrate it with the curriculum, I mean, we're already kind of short to get it in next year. And we're getting there. We're getting to the point where it's gonna be hard to integrate it into next year, curriculum-wise.
I think we have time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plus you can run through science.
I know Ms. Van has so much downtime lately.
That's what
Well, anyway, so we need to kick the ball.
Okay.
Get it moving down the hill. All right, any other further discussion on hydroponics? Awesome, thank you. 8.03, GBEB staff conduct revision first read. I have a comment since I wrote it. I'll just say, Ed, you're a good-looking guy. Now, is that true?
Don't be flirting with me.
Is it true? I'm sure everybody can have their different opinions as to whether or not that's true. Did I just tell Ed a little white lie to make him feel better? Was that professional of me to tell you that little white lie, Ed?
No.
Okay. So, okay. Tag, you're a good-looking guy. Anyway, my point is this, is that as the superintendent so eloquently reminded me that honesty and truthfulness is implicit in professionalism. And I can see a case where, we sometimes tell little white lies to make people feel better. Is that professional? Some people would say it is.
So we're talking about GBED?
GBED, yes, sir.
We need a motion to do first.
No, this is discussion. No, sir. Hey, I finally didn't screw that one.
I've had this twice tonight, I'll show.
So I figured if it's already there implicitly, why not make it explicit? If it's the same, then what's the problem? That's pretty much all I have to say about GBEB. Anybody else?
Well, it's a little bit redundant, but, we get anything vote on it in the next board meeting.
Any further comment on GBEB? No more discussion? Awesome, fabulous. JII, student concerns, complaints, and grievances, revision first read. Any discussion, comments, questions, concerns? Okay, since I also wrote that, I will provide my justification for it. Basically, right now parents are, I guess it's kind of sort of in a way, prohibited from making grievance against the school system, on behalf of their student. There's a public complaint process, there's a staff complaint process, and there's a student complaint process. But there is no parent complaint process. And I'm thinking, well, parents would really only ever file a complaint on behalf of their student. Otherwise, that would be the public complaint process. So I added one sentence, I think, in policy JII to allow parents to file a complaint or grievance on behalf of their student.
Only language change I would have for you, when you say underage students or students of age, you might just say students.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Again, I'm not an English major, so if any English majors out there want to read, and then want to read it, provide grammatical corrections, that'd be awesome.
I know they're not ages, only for kids on IEP. Is this?
No.
No.
That's what
No.
It's,
I would change it to simply students.
yeah. The correction
Right.
says parents, guardians of underage students, or of students of age who have an IEP.
I would
Shall
just
use this process.
covers everybody.
Just
Okay.
Parents
That's
or
fine.
students.
We can make that change to read students.
You're keeping in only the IEP or keeping in
Any student?
I would take out everything.
Yeah.
the, trying to get the correction.
Oh,
I would make it read parents/guardians of students shall use this process to file concerns, complaints, grievances on behalf of their student. Not that whole little section now.
Again, sorry, not an English major. Ma'am?
I want to say something about this because that's something that I think is very important that you brought this up because from what I understand right now, as a parent, I go directly to the teacher, then I go to the principal, then I go to the superintendent. And that was the whole issue when I just brought it up about the bullying and all these parents that got together, that the school said that, oh, we didn't get any complaints. And they had no way to prove it unless they sent an email, which, I mean, that's something I do.
Well, and again, I think it was conversation recently. I can literally, I mean, if you want to use email as proof, based on what I do for work, I can annihilate it as proof.
That was,
It was legit, yeah, so, but the point is, yeah, right, so if we have, and there's a form that the students can pick up from the principal, and it basically follows the staff grievance process, where there's a step-by-step process, and depending on where you start, you may start at step 2, whatever, and there's a form that goes along with that, and, you know, then that form can act as evidence or proof that you initiated this process.
Yeah, because I was looking at that, and I thought, why do they have them for the staff? They don't have anything for the parents. So, yeah, that's very important.
That was a thought I had, and this is my attempt to correct it. And, you know, one of the things, again, I'm not giving anybody direction, but if this ends up passing next month, I would like to see that form added as an exhibit, so the parents don't have to come into school, like download it and fill it out.
It's an exhibit for the staff.
I agree, it's an exhibit for the staff, but right now, if it's just a student grievance process, they go by the principal's office every day, so, just a thought. Any other?
Can I say something?
Sure.
Thank you.
Would it also be, just brought up, so the community complaint process, there's a policy. Would it be easier for parents as well to say parents/community? Because this is a parent on behalf of a child.
Yes. See, like for instance, and oh my God, I can't say names or make references, but I can imagine a scenario where there is a student who is not yet mentally capable enough to file a grievance on their own behalf. Say an elementary school child or a 6th grader or something like that. They wouldn't understand. They would, you know, if you said, oh yeah, you can file a grievance here, here's the policy, read it. You know, we wouldn't expect them to do it. So in that case, that's where I'm going after, where a parent.
That's why you qualify IEP.
Yes.
Well, can I
Because
say,
even students, because in the policy, yes ma'am, we'll get to you. Okay, in the student grievance policy, or in some of the policies related to it, I think, there's a distinction between students of age have certain rights after they're 18, all right? And until that time, parents and guardians exercise that right for them. And then when they turn 18, the parents lose that right in some of our policies. And I didn't want that right to be lost for those students who have an IEP because they may not be mentally capable even though they're physically over 18. So that's why I tried it best I could with the grammar thing. Include students with IEPs who are of age.
Just clarification as well, when you line up the community process with this process, is there a difference?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. In the NJII, there's actually, I think we had this conversation the other day.
And I don't remember if that's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
so yeah, I actually think the student grievance process is a little advanced, I guess, to be a student grievance process. If you look at JII, I think there's 5 categories of things about which they can file a complaint, and one of them is board policies. Now, other than maybe Sam Smith out here in the audience, I doubt there's any students that would.
Civics is a requirement to graduate, and I would hate to assume that our kids, by the time they graduate, would know how to read that policy.
Yes, but you see my point. I mean, students aren't really going to make a grievance about board policies.
These are your rigorous expectations.
Yeah, I would hope that they would.
I do want to make a point, because in my, and from what I've experienced, because you guys know I've been a quarter of my daughter, that the kids don't always recognize what a parent will see that's wrong.
Absolutely.
And there's been many cases that it's not my student's complaint, it's my complaint. So yeah, I think it should be separate.
Well, again, so it's your complaint. That's a different process than you complaining on behalf of your child. Totally different. And see, this is a fine line, and I drew this fine line on purpose because of the student not being, capable or old enough or able to file a grievance process for themselves. This is not carte blanche for parents to use this process for the types of things that aren't on behalf of their student.
Right.
That's still the
Shouldn't there
existing,
be a process for parents other than what we're doing already to?
and that may very well, that's one of the things that I figured would come.
Technically, it's not a parent, a community member.
KE, is that public?
A parent is technically a community member.
Yes.
So if you're not filing on behalf of your child, you're filing as a community member. You're still a parent,
Right.
but you're filing as a community member, so you have to follow that process.
Right, but currently, from what I understand, there's not a grievance form for that.
Community, there is.
There is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because
Okay.
I didn't see it for community.
That was one of the first things I did because we had some parents who brought that to the board
Oh,
at the
maybe
May,
it's
June board meeting
because I have
of
looked at a lot.
2015.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's
Community.
okay,
It's a case.
KE.
okay, okay.
I have
All
to look
right.
at the policy, but there is no KEE on the website. It may be embedded in the policy.
Yeah, because I didn't see it.
No, it is not. There
But
is
it's
no,
still-
KE, public concerns and complaints.
there's no form.
Oh, there might not be a form, but there's a policy.
Yeah, I read that's what I'm talking about, though, it's easier to print it than superintendent.
That
There's no
is-
form file. And I think there should be a form file.
With the parent, I gave this one. Thanks for bringing it to our attention. We will have something in the next meeting.
Awesome.
Or find where it is and post it,
Right.
if that's the case.
Okay,
But KE is policy. And that's why I asked if it, instead of public, should say parent/public,
Right.
or not.
I think if you're not filing on behalf of your child, you're a community member.
Public, okay.
wicked.
I'm with you.
All right, any other discussion on JII? Seeing none. Let's move to policy JK. I'll just go off. So, I have a lot of people who disagree with me on this one. But I believe that if a student is asked to sign something by a teacher, they should be provided a copy of it. And I'm not even going to use the legal term of forthwith. I actually used the word immediately in all caps and then proceeded to define the context of immediately within this policy. Tamara, please make the edit from regulation to policy. I use the word regulation in this regulation.
Okay.
Now,
So again, my intent is, how many times do you get a student that comes home and says, hey, Dad, I was written up today. Well, for what? I don't know. Or how many students come home who got written up today and don't say anything to their parents? Okay, and when I say written up, did we figure out the right term?
It's not written up, but writing all.
Right, so it's
Yes,
it's the new policy that I'll say it again, the exhibit JKE. This is the teacher's log for level 1 offenses, okay?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, oh, yeah, you're right. I'm letting it go, I'm behind it. Prove me wrong.
We'll give you a hard time, we're all little,
Yeah,
but do short meetings at graders.
prove me wrong, please.
so I thought when a student got written up, that the parents were called on that. That's not the case?
Only for the second and third occurrence of a level 1 infraction.
Okay.
That was level 1
In class.
infraction.
Right.
Not sent to the office.
Can I add something here?
Sure.
This really, the way this paragraph reads, the word place, this is absolutely operational. It's something that should be run down from the administration. And it doesn't belong in policy. This is directed in nature to as, just a direct, it's not policy at all. And so in any realm, this would, if you're gonna do anything, it may be a regulation, maybe if you're going to, if we have one, or, ethics, I'm not having to look to see if there's a regulation, somebody does. But it does not belong in policy. For the sake of anything else we go to.
And I understand and appreciate your point, Ms. McPherson, although the superintendent was kind enough to remind me on multiple occasions that regulation changes come from the administration and the board makes policy changes. So, I propose a policy change.
This is a version, it's not, it doesn't belong in policy.
how do we make it happen, Mr. McPherson? How do we make it happen, Mr. McPherson, if we don't change policy?
If you ask the administration to provide that documentation, I mean, that's what we do. We require the superintendent to follow his administrative policies, and they should hear that. If we want something that to occur in the future, then we simply say, hey, superintendent, why doesn't the student, if he signs up and get a copy of it? If they've got to sign it, they should get a copy of it. You can make that happen. We're looking to put it in policy.
Shouldn't it be written down somewhere, saying
We
that,
need to be a micromanaging board. If that, why do we need to do that? Let's fire tonight, and we'll take over.
You don't have to take that up.
No, thank you.
I do not believe in an attempt to protect both teachers and students from a he said, she said kind of situation is micromanaging. But I think it's a prudent step forward.
You know what, I think we're gonna run into a he said, she said anyways. I'm a teacher, I write the disciplinary form, I give it to a student, okay? Student goes home, I never got it. Teacher, I gave it to you. I don't know if we already have that issue
Well,
now
yes.
with.
Yes, and my counter to that is, for the second occurrence of a level 2 or level 1 offense, parental contact is required, and it specifically says on the form, by the way, which I think should be an exhibit, that email or phone contact, required email or phone. Okay, so for the second occurrence,
second occurrence?
okay, as a parent, I'm going, if assuming this policy is in place, I'm going to get that form, and then I can see when the teacher disciplined you for the first time.
You should get that form.
Now, well, the current process doesn't allow it.
You should get that form.
All I get is a contact, an email or a phone call from a teacher.
You should get that.
I agree, which is why I proposed a policy change. So now the parent can intervene. Now the parent has the tool to intervene and the data, the background, substantiating information to intervene appropriately. Whereas if they don't have a copy of the form and they don't read what the teacher wrote, they don't have any real data other than what the teacher told them on the phone as they were putting their things together to leave work.
I told Melissa some saying tonight, but I don't need to interject real quick.
Sure, please do.
We have teachers who put check marks for tables that are off task. That's a warning, or on a board, or on a clipboard. That's the same idea as entering on the wall, because this is a teacher-owned document. So are you going to then say, if you, because it applies to one, that's applied for us. That means that now I have to take a picture of the board or my clipboard and make a copy to send home with that child, because you're saying anything that the teacher does informally, this is an informal document, the audience is the teacher, and if the child goes to the office, to the administration to know what has been the history leading up, because right now what we have been doing is we call the teacher interrupter class. So why are you sending tag down and they go through the story 5-10 minutes later, they're missing instruction, or you try to catch them in the hallway at a break, who's going 5 minutes past them, or at lunch hour. And then it could be that you don't get to it until tomorrow. So it creates a little more immediacy if you get to that fourth step. So if the document doesn't, like I told you, it's not, it doesn't go in a student file. It's a communication device that's internal.
I understand that.
So every time you do an internal communication that your child's name comes in an email between Danelle and I, does that mean you're entitled to it?
Technically, according to the law, yeah.
No, it's not.
I bet you can do a court request and get it.
You can do a court request, but you know, if you do a subpoena of records, the only records that you can get are filed documents, officially filed.
A subpoena.
That's the only way you can get it.
But I think I can get emails with my child's name on.
You can core emails, but you couldn't core my pad paper.
Bad,
That's
right?
fine.
There's no-
So are you
Email.
infringing in on our ability to have internal communications? Is my question. which
No,
leads to
actually, if we were
operations.
to actually just read
Operations.
what I wrote, it says, if you make the student sign a document, they get a copy. That's all it says.
So if they put their name on the paper,
Can we take the word formalized? We got questions out here.
Yeah.
Of course, if it's equally right to put into the discipline plan that any student would fail to take home a piece of paper and personally hand it to mom and dad, and that be subject to suspension. I mean, we're gonna.
Sure.
And that's what I'm saying.
If you wanna go hard, I'm with you.
This is not tolerable. So,
Mrs. Smith is running out of air from holding her hand for so long.
So I thought Tag raised an important point of what happens if the kid loses it, misplaces it, or just does not bother to give it to the parent. So if it's a signed document that the student has had signed to show that they agree with what has happened, and they are.
No.
Well, not necessarily
The
agree.
form does
but
not say they agree.
Not agree,
It says
but
that
they
this
are
is what
aware
they've
of
been
what's
told by the
going on,
teacher.
and they know what's happening, and they read it, and they understand what's going on. If I understand that it's not technically an official document, because they're not technically written up, but isn't the office supposed to get a copy of that paper? Who's holding that?
On
as
fourth
their-
offense, the office gets a copy on fourth offense.
But
The
should
step.
the teacher be able to provide that copy to the parent if for whatever reason the kid lost it? Or is it only the kid able to get that paper?
Right now, you can call any teacher and say, has my daughter or my son put your log in your classroom? They can say yes or no, and you can say, can I come and see it? And I'll say yes.
I know, I've done it.
But
what's wrong with the problem of the face-to-face communication? I mean, if the child comes home and says, hey, I read up today, why wouldn't it be the parent's first move to call the teacher? And, I mean, that's what we really want. We want that deep down personal communication instead of paper flying. And again, I go back to, this isn't a policy. I'd like to move ahead with a lot of discussion. Let's either not put it forward, or let's put it forward and then vote on it next month.
We still have more discussion going on. I'll run the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Stout.
Yeah, I got to, and you guys know how hard I do on teachers. Actually, I think this is for the teachers.
I do too.
Because it shows that they have talked to the student about this. Whether the kid takes it home or not doesn't matter. The teacher has a thing there saying, look, I did talk to him about it, and he signed it.
And next to the signature, it says you have to contact the parent on the phone. So not only is your
On the
child
second
signed,
offense.
Yeah, however you guys
but
went to that part.
then
I
I'm
think
calling
this covers
you
the
and
teacher.
saying, hey, by the way, this is what happened today, and I talked to them, and so you are aware, the student is aware there. I'm still struggling, why then we need to create a longer paper trail of communication to you guys, parents, especially when you expect teachers to be teaching. So when are you gonna make a copy, by the way, and get it home? And how much
I
time?
mean, did they take the time out of class to write
Do
it
they
down?
have, I mean, put here, they have 1 day, they have 5 days?
I said immediately, before the person requiring the signature and the signatory.
Word to court law now. You interpret immediately for me.
Yes, I wrote it in there.
Between classes.
No minutes.
Oh, no minutes. Oh, so now.
However many minutes it takes to go from signing it to the copy machine to get them a copy.
That's not feasible.
Before they lose sight. I'm
You know,
not-
sorry,
in
it's
senior high
not.
school, walk the hallway and test yourself and come back.
I've walked the hallway.
Don't write it down.
Sorry,
That's
too much
that's-
time.
No, hey, this is a discussion. This is exactly the kind of discussion I'm trying to get from this. Mrs. Van had her hand raised a while ago.
Right now.
Yes.
This is way beyond discussion and borders on absurd. I didn't make a motion.
Mr. McPherson, you are out of order.
No, you are, sir. I make a motion.
Just hang up.
We are in discussion, sir.
That's right, and I motion to move forward.
Okay, do I have a second motion? Do I have a second to the motion to move it and discussion? Hearing none, we will move forward with discussion. Mrs. Van Esselstein, you're recognized.
Okay, well, one thing that I want to point out, and it was addressed, internally in the classroom, teachers use a lot of strategies to intervene when behaviors are not regulated. It was addressed as far as putting check marks on the board, putting your name down if you had lunch, those type of things. By having students, especially older students, being held accountable by signing it, it's not an agreement or not, but they have that conversation, which is the most important part, whether it's from a discipline standpoint or evaluation standpoint, any of those pieces, it has to be a part of that. But if required for teaching 7th period first. We have 7 periods a day, they're teaching 6 classes, they have preps for 6 classes. There's a formula passing period in which they are obligated to be in the hallways to monitor students. They don't have a lot of downtime, they really don't. They're making the phone call or the email to the parent. Majority, I know, me personally, I always call, because when you have that conversation. That conversation is more in-depth than what's written on that piece of paper. You get more information about what occurred, what strategies you tried within that second piece. And every student should have a chance just that day or the first year. That's more important, that conversation with that parent, than sending that form home. When it gets to the 4th step, when it comes to me, you do get a copy of that form as a parent. You don't necessarily, or you could, get that discipline piece that happened in the classroom. But the point is the discussion with the parents is going to be more beneficial. And I heard a comment over here that although kind of crushes it, it is true. If you're requiring teachers to do all of these extra steps and all the things that we're requiring them to do, and they will tell you their plates are full. Some teachers will say, I'm not going to do this because I don't have time. So I'll have a conversation, but I'm not going to document because it's that step of, I don't have time to do that. It's not that they don't care, it's they don't want to fail at what they're doing. And I don't want to set teachers up to fail by saying you have to do these things when they're already making the contact, they're already documented, they're having the conversations with the students. And if they're really more pieces, they're talking with our RTI and ITSS teams on those students as well. That's my message.
So Mrs. Van
That's a very great argument.
You're saying that the teachers do call the first time that there's an
No,
issue?
the first time is warning just for anybody, because anybody can have
So they
a
call the parents the second time?
on this instance. With the new discipline form that we have in place, yes. They're supposed to be in contact.
As a parent, I personally would want to contact anytime that I'm just looking at the teacher, want to know what's going on. And I know in the past that I never was contacted by a teacher because my daughter didn't know how many minutes ago, that's what happened. So I was going to school.
Mr. Smith.
An easy tool to help with this, I understand, instead of using a Xerox machine, you can always use a modern thing called cardinal's paper, and you just have a white and yellow copy. You Xerox in the machine, and Xerox is both, cut them in half, and then the teachers have basically a pad, and you just write it down, give the kid the yellow copy. And some parents are gonna, there's gonna be a lot of parents that are gonna say, okay, oh well, who cares? But those parents that are involved and wanna know, are going to at least look at it and hopefully hold that kid a little bit accountable too. And then hopefully it doesn't happen again. But there's technology out there, so it's not a lot of extra time.
Right.
It's no time.
If I get told the second time, I want to know why was I told first?
Because the process doesn't require it, sir. That's why.
It's like a warning first.
Right.
I just want to say real
Mr.
fast,
Howard.
thanks to Mrs. Hall. As a parent, this whole scenario came up. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock that night, I got a call from Mrs. Hall that said, hey, this is what happened today. I said, right on, thank you so much, I support you 100%. It was 30 seconds, the issue was solved.
Right.
But now that you've
So
said
now
that,
they're
I want to jump on the other side of that. My kid, 3 times, already has been in lunch detention. I never got notified. I'm in the school every day, and I never got notified.
Cardi.
Finally, and I'm the legal guardian, period. Not my son, not my wife. I am. That's disturbing. I should have been notified. By the 3rd time, already lunch detention? No, this is unacceptable, period.
So I think that goes along with the current process, Don.
Food for thought is, when we start this hydroponic program, if there are any, this is an analogy, if there are any bugs that we run into, does that mean we need to write a policy about it, or does that mean, no, it's implementation? And sometimes you have struggles in the first month or 2. Communicate your concerns to anybody who didn't follow the parts that were supposed to happen in the hydroponic program. If they don't take care of it, talk to the administrator. If they don't take care of it, I'm the superintendent. This system has not even been in place for 8 weeks, and we're already trying to do policy to adjust it. sure in your scenario, have you had a chance to talk to the administrator about that?
I should have, but I didn't want to get the teacher in trouble because I think the teacher's an outstanding teacher. I went and corrected it with that individual.
And that's the problem, channel. And so my caution is possibly consider tabling it for a couple more months. Let us see if we improve on our system. Otherwise, we're setting a precedent. So if hydroponics doesn't work, we're in a can. If all of a sudden we have a problem with solar panel issue, because we're starting up, now we got a candidate with break. I think if we have those kind of knee-jerk reactions, that really is not, and always been in business, part of product design and development. And this is product design and development. So just keep that in mind on your votes and bring it next on the table.
Mr. Underwood.
I just want to say, I understand teachers are under a lot of stress. Trust me, I do. But honestly, if you don't have the time to follow the proper channels and make sure people are notified from first offense, which is a common courtesy to do, even in my field that I do, it's common courtesy, then don't write them up.
Well, that's exactly what's going to happen. Hold on, ma'am, you didn't.
That's what happened last year.
I've been just thinking about parent-teachers conference. Is this when the parents can talk to the teachers and tell them what you're thinking about, you know? Yeah.
And I've been to parent-teachers conference where there's one person in this whole school, me. In the high school, there might be one person in the whole school, me.
Here we have 100%, but over there,
Yeah, here, yeah, but I come real early, so I can understand. I like to be the first one.
Yeah, we do.
But they do. Yeah, I know, I see you here a lot. But I agree. It's parent-teacher conference. You're interested in being a parent.
I know, ma'am.
I just want to say, as a teacher, that first offense is giving the opportunity for the student to correct. If we jump on them every time, where's their learning process? We need to allow them.
I'm not saying we jump on students anymore.
No, I'm saying if we jump on them and involve the parent on that first,
I'm not
where's
saying
their...
involve the parent.
Okay, because when you're saying first
I'm
offense,
saying,
that's what I'm
give the
getting.
student a copy of a piece of paper if you're requiring them to sign. That's all I'm asking for.
It's not, there's been a lot of
Let's
discussion.
take the log out of the classroom, and that can solve it. How's that?
If-
And every teacher needs to just keep a mental note on all 6 of your kids, if you don't mind.
If that's the mechanism you want to use, and as long as they don't have to, children don't have to sign it, I'm all in. And then I'll propose a completely new discipline process in December. Mr. Smith, we need to close this to, make this to a close here soon.
I just had a quick little comment, and it's not bashing Grant. He does bring up a point. We can't just can everything at the first adjustment we make, but if you've ever put on a tie and you put it a little lopsided, you gotta fix it. Just that little adjustment. You didn't take it off and not wear a tie. So that's what you're doing. You're not changing the whole thing, you're just tweaking it just a little.
The wisdom of a student sometimes. That's a great analogy.
The tweak happens at operational level, that's not policy. It's about operations on the those civics lesson.
But see, nobody's talked about the situation. The hypothetical situation, wherein student does sign, the teacher does take the second, whatever that's called, second offense on a log, or second occurrence of level of offense, and logs it, talks to the student, makes them sign it. And then, when the parental unit inquires as such, magically that signature and that second write-up's not on the form. Now, we are in a he said, she said, who's right? Well, by default, the student is going to be assumed to be wrong and lying. Because that's just it, not necessarily because there's no evidence that it's been documented. So of course the student's lying that they were given a second offense. So that is the situation, the hypothetical situation that I think that this can address. And that was my motivation in proposing.
I think it's a good idea.
I got one thing that's been killing me.
Sir?
On this, can you change it to page 1 of 3, 2 of 3, and 3 of 3?
This was not my edit,
Yeah.
I didn't do this.
So I converted this from PDF to Word, so.
So yeah, we're gonna fix it, we will.
Yeah.
If it passes, it's gotta be changed. Just make sure like me.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, I tried to fix it.
JK, any other discussion? Hearing none. 9.01, approved Energy Associates Incorporated Professional Service Agreement. Do I have a motion to approve 9.01?
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I say
Discussion.
I still don't like the rates that we give.
Dude, is there any estimate on, no, look at the last page. Is there any estimate about the number of hours that the different levels of rates are gonna be billed?
Like how many hours we use for those rates?
Yeah, so there's the guy, the head guy, remember?
That's if we use those services.
Right, but we're talking $130 an hour for that guy's services. And he paid half of that on his hour-long drive here. So is there any estimate, is there a cap, I know we wanted to go to kind of this sort of a situation, but, I mean, I get paid a crap ton of money and I don't make $130 an hour.
That's for a principal person. I don't think we'll ever need a principal person. That's like the project.
I mean, Gunner's just paid 75 an hour, that's ridiculous.
I think this is more for his generic contract that he has for larger organizations.
When I ordered that, see him again,
I don't see us, we don't need a staff engineer, I don't see us using that. We don't use a project manager.
Well, then which one are we using, how many hours of that? And, you know, we're getting ready to, basically approve, you to sign this contract. Have we run this past the lawyer?
Yes, I have, it's sound. And one issue is the numbers, and that's the negotiation.
Right.
I still like it. These are their rates. Just the amount of money that we're paying out over what we save, I'm still not happy with the amount of money they're making versus the amount of money
Oh,
we
but,
save.
no, I mean, right in there, it says, what was the term that we used? I changed pages. Hold on. Compensation.
ESA's compensation shall be as follows: 80% of all annual documented savings beyond the annual lease obligation of $20,000 annually.
No, up to. So,
Didn't we have a meeting and clarify?
we did, and this is what came out of it. And so that means, what that means, Mike, okay, is let's say we invest, 60, was it? It was $25,000 on new lights, right? Is that the?
Sure you do that.
Yeah, okay. We have a certain amount of money that we have to pay every year for the loan that we achieved, or we have taken out on that $25,000. And that number is,
The full 60 would be about $5,400.
okay, so 20, cut it in a third, right, whatever. So that means that, until the amount that we need to pay every year, the amount of money, the principal and interest payments combined. So let's say $5,400, took out the whole $60,000 loan, we bought new lights everywhere. So that means it's $5,400. First $5,400,
Of our savings.
this guy doesn't make a dime. Okay, then after that, I'm not keen on 80, but at that point, we're making money. We're making money on our capital investment at that point.
They're making 80% on us and we're making 20. It's like insurance, 80-20.
Well, the guys, and you know, man, right, it makes sense to me, these guys gotta get paid.
I understand that. I understand that.
And that was where he wanted, that's where he was willing to make the trade, which is, you know, we include our loan payments, as the cutoff point for when we determine if we're making money. So in other words, if we never save $5,400 in that year, he doesn't get paid other than that hourly rate. I would like to see some estimates.
And we don't spend without even sharing the return on investments, we don't advance what that is.
Right. I mean, yeah, I think 80 is a little high, but I mean, the guy did negotiate with us, and other than how much that could potentially cost us, they bring the guy that makes $130 down for a week, for 40 hours, you know, we're not ever gonna make any money.
But they got a long opinion.
Right.
Our teachers make $130 a day.
No, that's an hour, Mike.
I know it is. That's what I'm saying, our teachers don't even make $130 a day, and we're paying them an hour, that's insane.
Yeah, they
It's
take
outrageous.
closer to 3 to 500, depending on whether it's scheduled.
So, anyway,
So where are we?
just, yeah, we're in discussion on 9.01. All right, so is any further discussion? Gentlemen, call for the vote, please.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Lawson? Mr. McPherson? Mr. Swayze?
Aye.
Mr. Underwood?
Aye. All right, 9.02, approve sale of modular building. Do I have a motion to approve the sale of the modular building?
I'll make it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? So, for those of you that are not aware, this is the modular building by the football field. We've already approved the sale of the other modular building, and in fact, I believe made a contract or whatever, right?
Is this gonna be, they move it on their own time and, no cost to us?
Do we have anybody that's like making an offer? I know we have people that are interested, but.
Somebody shared their interest in, maybe an offer they don't have about or something like that.
Well, and they took, I mean, they're like all gone, right? I mean, there's no remnants or.
Concrete slab underneath is probably about all you can see.
I'm fine with that, yeah. Anybody else? Any further questions, comments, concerns on 9.02? No? Call for the vote, please.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Lawson?
Aye.
Mr. McPherson? Mr. Swayze?
Aye.
Mr. Underwood?
Aye. Brings us to 9.03, temporary approval of policy JKE, student discipline exhibit, first read. Do I have a motion to approve 9.03?
Motion to approve, temporary approved policy GKE 9.03.
Do I have a second? We got it from Ted. Okay, discussion.
I don't like the asterisk.
I don't like the asterisks either. Are there any changes in it besides the asterisks?
The other change is that we were not inclusive of potential consequences of tests. So we put it with loss of privileges to include, and it has slash, it's not even the first one.
What page?
I think level 2, 3, and 4. So if I'm looking at the third page, boy, I sure hope you got the right one. Where's the loss of
Level 3 starts on the 4th page.
Where's loss of privilege? Okay.
Well, there's school bus misconduct on level 2.
This did not, I'm sorry to tell you, you're looking at a document that include the full edit. The other edit is supposed to be, if you'd accept it, the handwritten and put it in there. After on levels 2, 3, and 4, it says loss of privilege. And then it says slash participation in extracurricular school-sponsored events. There's also going to be a slash writing of buses or vans.
Oh, in the consequences.
And the consequences.
Ah, I was looking in the wrong spot. Okay.
And that became evident when we had our situation that just came up. That we could say loss of privileges, but to be, using your logic, to be more explicit, we want to include buses and vans. And the asterisk is because in conversation with the board member here, I shared, and I thought they had agreement that by making a statement like this, that would allow it to be that employee would not, either if you're in the district, employees, they're working at that time, you would go to that parent first, try to get the parent to not employ, so it's not interrupted the day.
Can I ask a teacher of a student who's up and coming into the high school in a couple of years, if your son got in trouble, would you want a teacher to find you during your off period or maybe during lunch or
employees do we have in the district with students?
I mean, part-time?
Okay.
You say part-time?
No, in the cover sheet. So this is
That is public.
this is the situation. So since you called me out, I'll take it. So
I didn't go out, I board member.
I know, but after all my discussions earlier, it's obvious.
I think it was the waving of his hand that he.
Yeah, I did one way related. So, all right. So first of all, this was not a one-time thing, and it certainly wasn't just a one-teacher thing. This is a, and again, this goes back to a recommended regulation change that I wanted to make, but was quashed on. So, this is. I understand that every employee who has students in the district is going to have a different feeling about this. What I want, the point that I want to get to someday is for our staff to raise themselves to the level of professionalism where they don't try to have this consult during a passing period. There is not enough time. By the time you walk from one classroom to the another, have the conversation and walk back for you to get there in time. And so this was something that we, you and I talked about as a potential, one of the options that could be utilized in lieu of that kind of situation that I'm describing. I didn't intend it to be the only one.
But that's not the only place to do regulation.
Okay, well, I hesitate to approve an exhibit that's attempting to enforce a regulation that's not here and changed. I think it's backwards. You change the regulation first.
The policy, I'm going to write a regulation on operationalizing.
All right, but there are no policy changes in regards to this.
Okay, I'm sorry if I misunderstood.
No, that's still fine. We talked about so many things regarding that. I get confused myself.
So I'm fine that we just strike that, but if we could leave the bus.
We do need the bus piece. So I'll make a motion to approve policy, or sorry, temporarily approve policy JKE with the asterisk stricken. Do I have a second? We have a second. Do we have any further discussion with that stricken? Yes, sir. Because again, that's
Adding the bus, it's not on the.
right. So all we're doing is adding the bus.
Right, so the bus and van is the phrase.
Right. Because I can definitely see where a parent comes. It doesn't tell me you can't take my, my kids kicked off the bus. I can see that. Anyway, any further discussion on JKE? Hearing none, call for the vote, please.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Lawson?
Aye.
Mr. McPherson?
Aye.
Mr. Swayze?
Aye.
Mr. Underwood?
Aye. That brings us to 9.04, final approved policy of, I'm going to kill this, I, J, N, D, A, B. Do I have a motion to approve 9.04?
Make a motion to approve 9.04.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, do I have any discussion? Now, I do have a question. Are there any changes in this, the red lines specifically in the document, that weren't in it the last time we looked? I didn't have time to do the compare because it's hard to do compare. And
I don't think we changed anything did we, from the first read.
No. No, in fact, so this is actually posted on the website. 'Cause what had happened is this is to do the final approval of this document. Back in July, we did the temporary, and I forgot to put it on as the final approval for August. So that is going back and following our procedures to make sure that you do that final approval. So I have a copy of what is actually posted with the edits if you want to look at them.
Are they not the same as what's online?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I was just curious because I don't remember reading the headers the last time we did this, but again, it was 2 months ago. Have we, oh, you're confused. Have we,
I've already read it.
have we got a legal opinion on this? this within norm? I mean, I know we've talked extensively about this. If this is the general norm, is there a part that you're? No, nothing in particular, it's just, you know, I mean, we kind of sort of have this new, you know, extra step or loop in the process. Just was curious if,
The only thing I didn't see in here, and I know we talked about this, was if a student, and this happened last year, we had a student fail a course, the grade wasn't reported to the school, technically that course was failed, that student's ineligible for sports, and all other awards that go with that. So I'd like to see something where I can see the school must receive the official record of the student's final grade, but that doesn't give us the intermediate grades during our eligibility checks weekly.
That thing is, how we gonna do that with an 18-year-old kid going to college? It's hard, remember we discussed that?
I know,
last year.
and
Last
I don't
time.
like it because a student failed, was ineligible,
Yes.
still participating in sports,
You're right.
and received outstanding awards.
So after that, when you brought that up, we were at the junior senior high school, I used to have the superintendent meeting for Pike Peak area, and I asked them, and the question caused me to go, but nobody has something to replace it after that. So, you mean, I see your point, but we don't do that. Doesn't mean we can't. But I was here, I asked. And so the only way that we can get a grade from a student is if
They need to bring it in.
they do it on their own, but not because we have a policy that you have to.
Mr. Decker, didn't you send something with the AAP kids that they have to take to their teacher, and the teacher has to report their grade now?
But what about college?
That is called.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, I want to make sure we're
With Pikes Peak,
on line.
they'll do it for Pikes Peak too.
well, I know that's the student staff. You know, they go to ABT, you know, for us to get access to their grades, we check their grades every week. By signing that paper, the teacher's acknowledging that they have a grade of C or above for that week, for our ABT kids. Because I personally don't have access to their.
That's good, I didn't know that either.
Now, it's something that Edison has done, and so with my communication, you know, with Mr. Nordall and whatnot,
Is that something that we currently do?
I just talked with Ms. Dan, and I just started doing that a couple weeks ago.
So it's not the school requesting the grade, the student is taking that paper to the school requesting that their professor put their
Okay.
grade on that paper.
As long as something's being done to prevent what happened last year,
Yeah.
I'm cool.
Kudos, sir.
Yes.
Kudos.
You're doing that for that boy, man.
Yes, sir. He's doing it for himself, so.
Well, yeah, I know he is, but I'm glad you came up with that because that's correct.
I'm good.
They're not required to, are they?
No, I just asked them, and asked the teacher, if the teacher's willing to.
So make sure we're not
You
violating.
know,
any
yeah.
stuff.
Right, and
Because
because
sometimes
sometimes.
sports are not required.
That's right, they're not required to play sports either.
Yeah,
Sure, see what it was, we got one asked their teacher what their grade is.
It's not fair to the other students, and we need to stop the eligibility checks.
Right, you know, the students that ask their teacher if they can get their grade, and either like, well, I don't have it updated yet, or I don't know, or I can't go grab it. By at least asking them, we can't make the teacher sign it, but all their teachers are more than willing to, yeah,
Great.
are you willing to admit, you know, by saying that, by signing this, they're saying that I'm in good standing within your class.
great.
If they don't, they don't, you know, as far as the teacher might speak. But I know that they are more willing to do something like that than possibly go in and print out a copy of their grades or whatever. So I mean, it's just a simple statement that says I have a zero above it.
It's a list of the dates, so it's every Wednesday, they have their date, the student writes the class that they're in, and then it says, you know, for the teacher to sign if the student has a C or above. And if they sign it, they sign it. Just a quick way for us to know that, yes, they're getting their grades done, but it's not anything that, you know, you have to have this done. But they've all done really well with getting their stuff signed and turned in. Just something so I can actually see. I don't want to have anything happen on something like that.
Excellent, thanks. Any further discussion on 9.04? Sir? Oh, no, I'm sorry, this is second read, that's board discussion. You had your chance 2 months ago, sorry, missed it. All right, call for the vote, please.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Lawson?
Aye.
Mr. McPherson? Mr. Swayze?
Aye.
Mr. Underwood?
Aye. All right. That brings us to 9.05, final approved policy, the exhibit 1 of the previous policy. Do I have a motion to approve 9.05?
Motion carried. 9.05, final approval of policy action meeting exhibit 1.
Second. Do I have a second? All right, any discussion? This is just an exhibit to support that. No discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Lawson?
Aye.
Mr. McPherson? Mr. Swayze?
Aye.
Mr. Underwood?
Aye. 9.06, final approved policy IJNDAB Echo 2, student parent agreement form, Plato online computer courses exhibit revision second read.
I'm not going to say all.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve 9.05.
Do I have a second? Second. Do I have any discussion? Do I have any discussion?
No.
Call for the vote, please.
Mr. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Lawson?
Aye.
Mr. McPherson? Mr. Swayze?
Aye.
Mr. Underwood?
Aye. Confusingly, that brings us to 10.0, information updates. Questions, comments, interjections, concerns? I say in the city love, and city's detail, TJ's detail, I love it. Yeah. No, I don't have any questions. No, we just lump them all together. We lump them all together, and does anybody, board member, have a question for the updater? Or any updatee have any additional information we'd like to interject? Sir?
You know, because obviously being new to the position, I'm kind of drowning a little bit, so that's the one thing that I have not gotten to, was an update on the athletics. And again, it's not, personal. First off, thank you for the opportunity to have this position. I know that I have made some mistakes already along the way, but I am trying my best, and there have been a lot of people that are willing to help me. I know Tamara, Ms. Van, Mr. Gracie's been very helpful in situations. I did send out an email to all the board members about the tournament and how great it was to have all the help and whatnot that we had. We are, fall sports are on the, we're moving and whatnot. I know middle school football is almost finished and whatnot, but again, that is something that, I will admit that I've fallen behind on as far as that update to you, but I did want to at least give that to you. And, thank you again for all the help from everybody, and staff members and board members and administrators. But there's an update, I guess, on that part of it. Okay.
Awesome. Any other questions, comments, concerns, updates?
I neglected to include in my beginning report just information line. Part of the process with the levy is paper notice for what you require to do when you have a levy or bond. And essentially at this point in time, it's nothing yet, it's just procedural. At this point in time, what we're saying is we have to post on our website and see for the community their comments on pros and cons, ability to rely, prior education, and county that was at that annual voter guide.
Yes.
So that's what this is about. So when you start seeing something on the website about that, be aware and please share with everybody.
What's the ETA?
They shared it with me today, and it is due back on Tuesday, by close of business. So
Next
it's very
Tuesday.
short.
Okay. So then we're gonna see it on the website.
It'll be on there tomorrow morning.
Awesome.
So I did call her and ask, for guidance on what is our legal requirement as far as notifications, what do we have to do to make sure that people know that this is available. She says there is no legal guidelines, but putting it on our website, we'll also send out the all-call message that we use to parents and that kind of thing.
Please check our website for.
Please check the website for that. And then what will happen is, as they send those comments in to me, I will copy and paste them into the section that is back here on the back for the pros and cons. And then this entire form gets electronically sent to them, and then they will format it to fit into that book pamphlet layout that goes out to all voters.
Okay.
I was just gonna give it as a little business.
Mr. Allen?
Well, I just wanted to say, hey guys, for the whole community, I've been doing research and working together to get our 4-H program back up and going out here. So, anybody interested in 4-H of any sort, or even helping kind of lead that program, committee that program, whatever, please send me an email and get with me, because I'm reluctant to announce a few things right now, but the ball is rolling, and that's coming up right around the corner. So if you're interested or know anybody that's interested in being a part of 4-H, shoot me an email, a text message, anything, just let me know, hey, I want to be a part of it.
So,
Did you say you're kind of lumping all the rest of the stuff together?
for updates, yes.
Then you have other businesses?
Yes, sir. Okay, do we have any more information, update, questions, concerns, comments? Okay, all right, now 11.0, other business. Mr. Staff, you apparently have other business.
Yeah, I've been working with Grant, mostly working with TJ. I'm trying to get the football field straightened out. Put it wrong, and I'm trying to help get it straightened back out. The biggest thing that could really go to help get the field in some kind of usable shape is you need a better lawnmower. The one you guys have is not designed for that kind of stuff. I'm just giving my experience on it. If you go to a commercial grade lawnmower, you're looking for $14,000, $15,000. You don't need that. You can get a regular home garden lawnmower for about $1,200, which will last about 2 years, where your commercial grade life expectancy is 5 to 6 years. So you're far better off with the cheaper version, as long as it's maintained. But right now, that field the way it's being cut is why it's so damn lumpy, and why it looks like crap. And if you look at it after it's been mowed, it has a haze across the top of it. That's because those blades are not cutting, they're shredded. If you have a regular lawnmower, that'll make that field look 5 times better, just with that expense alone. And I talked to Dr. Smith about it. I think it's something that needs to be done right away, as soon as possible, so that this field looks at least halfway presentable for this year.
Okay, thank you. I have other business. So, policy JV equal educational opportunities. Basically, quote here, it says, the board directs the superintendent to periodically monitor the following areas, and it gives a list. I would make a motion for the board to direct the superintendent to provide some kind of a report on that, so that we can see it. So, do I have a second for that motion?
For which one?
For the superintendent, JV, for the superintendent to provide the board with a report. All the policy does is direct him to monitor. I'd like to see the report on it. So do I have a second for my motion?
I would second that.
Okay, I have a second. So call for the vote, please.
We get discussion here, bud.
Okay, discuss away, Mr. McPherson.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. I'd like to know what increase of workload this does to you, and if there are other mechanisms for providing reports. That's something you do in superfluous work, of which we already have the availability to the information. If you feel that this is important, it needs to be done, I'm okay with it, but I just want to make sure that we're cognizant of what we're required and needed to.
We're asking him to give a report on something he already monitors, sir. I know, but that's all that I'm asking. Sir? I'm just asking that for a report of something he already monitored. Understand?
I
I'm pausing because I'm actually reading it, make sure I can respond appropriately.
What actually pertained in this full report?
I'm sorry, what?
What's actually in this full report?
Well, my monitoring is through our conversations as well as through our 18 process. So you look at curriculum materials review, that's done visiting the staff. For example, my telling you need more instructional materials for math. That's an example of monitoring and same with that. Training, providing training for students and staff to identify and alleviate problems of discrimination. We have the mandatory trainings that we talk to staff. Student access review programs, activities, and practices ensure that all students have equal access and are not segregated except for the school. I can tell you, I don't see any time where we don't provide equal access. In fact, that's actually the mantra that we follow, both in our 18, when we talk about instruction and teachers, making sure all kids have access to everything. Which is part of why we have an online program, to provide equal access for all kids to do that and access to more courses. District support, ensure that district resources are equitably distributed amongst the programs, including not limited staffing, compensation facilities, but regulated materials.
So this is.
We do that already.
What
You
you
guys
want to
approved
do.
the budget anyway, so that's already there. Student evaluation instruments, review of test procedures and guidance and counseling materials for stereotyping and discrimination. That's, there's nothing new that's come up, so nothing new has come up, but that's an issue. And then discipline, we review discipline records, which is going to be part of the state of the district, because I have discipline data that's going to be in there. So is that a sufficient report at this time, or do you want something formal?
Don't we normally get that from him on a weekly basis? He uses our weekly.
I mean, so, look, we all know my motivation behind this, it's the number 6, which is discipline. And you say you collect that data. I just want to see the data.
You see it in the PowerPoint slide, of course, the next week. This one district, that PowerPoint slide is going to show you how many discipline incidents were referred to the office and the highest level number of consequences that were handed out.
Oh, I didn't know that was in the plan.
That
We
is
have to
the
do a
report
state
that I have
report.
to submit at the end of it.
It's part of that communications ingredient.
It's the safety and discipline.
I withdraw the motion.
But anytime you say, I'm curious about this, I'm always open.
You know, I want discipline statistics, so that's what it's all about.
I need to read the PowerPoint, but you know,
I would like to do that, I just like to see it as curiosity.
Yeah, no, so, I withdraw the motion. Believe Mr. Lawson is willing to withdraw the second and withdraw the second.
Are we completed with yours? I have one other thing.
Sure.
Our middle school football team is currently 2-0 in the league, 3-0 overall. We have our final league game, I believe Monday. Deer Trail is our league this year. So we have our final league game Monday. We have one more game Saturday, October 1st. We are, again, hoping to go 5-0 again this year. However, I'm not going to count those chickens because I raise chickens. I know not to count them because some might not make it. So if you can, stop out on Monday. The game's at 4. Sure would love your support. The kids would love it. I believe they've been putting on a good show for everybody this year that's made it. So stop by and support your middle school in their final league game. Yes,
Is
ma'am?
it a home game? And
Okay, all our games are home games except for the first one, which is already come and gone. So it's 4 o'clock on Monday, 2 o'clock on October 1st, and those are our last 2 games.
Thank you.
Last game doesn't matter, we can lose it, we're still league champions, but we want to win it for the 8th graders.
Right. One of the pieces, remember we had a conversation earlier about AC-E-1?
Yes.
Okay. Also, ACE-E-1.
He got you. He found a policy where we have, the previous superintendent was the contact.
I brought that up like months ago. He's
So wait, he can represent that way.
My better half told me to.
Thank you, as I shared with him, I'll say to you, thank you, and I wrote that down as a note to make that change.
Cool. The only other thing, and this is the last thing that I have, is, no, unfortunately not, is that remember, we have a policy, BBEA, I believe it is, that prevents, except in very specific exemption cases for the president of the board, prevents board members from giving direction to the superintendent. So I'm not saying any of you are guilty of that, but I caution you on that as I've had to catch myself multiple times in recent days along those lines. That's all I have, gentlemen. Sir.
So it's gonna happen. You guys do some more, I'll do more.
Okay.
Volunteer.
Nice. I'm sorry, Mr. Scott.
He said he'll do the mowing.
Oh, thank you.
He said he's picking up a
Yeah,
mower
we
and
need a
Lowe's
mower.
place. This town for us.
That's what I thought I heard, but thank you.
Oh, ma'am.
Mine just refers back to the discipline we were talking about way back. You said you were going to have a staff meeting and like you had to figure it out all there. If you could provide an update to the substitute teachers so that we can handle the class management more consistently for you guys, that would be awesome. Okay, I wanted to say.
Any other business?
You're going, okay.
Get out another minute. Do I have a motion to adjourn? A second.
Mr. Allen, Mr. Watson, Mr. Pearson, Mr. Swayze, and Mr. Underwood.
Aye.
Thank you, Matt.
Actually, that privilege mode, that needs to be.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so bring it back up.
Yes, yes.
You have that book on your face, I have Saturday.
Oh.
Saturday. Wow.
Yeah, oh, yes.
So we stand in line. We're Of course, I'm the only one that
Introducing this. That discussion.
People came up and
Yes, ma'am, I just now did.
After that, Hey, Miss Mann, could you shut that off for us, please? Thank you, Miss Mann.
But I think honestly,
I did that.
if you know all the gory details of the situation, you probably wouldn't be too far removed from my position.
That's why I did that.
I can't. No, because, once again, water